Hello and warm welcome to NTA Nationwide. I am Olajide Bello. Many thanks for joining us. The Nigeria Governors Forum has promised to do what is necessary towards enhancing public security by supporting genuine efforts at repositioning the Nigeria police for effective service delivery. The chairman of the forum, Abdulaziz Yari Abubakar of Zamfara State, stated this after an interactive meeting between the governors and the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The Inspector General of Police was invited by the Governors Forum to share ideas on ways and means of achieving effective policing of Nigeria against the backdrop of contemporary security challenges facing the country. Issues of poor funding, inadequate manpower, and lack of modern equipment for the service personnel dominated discussions at the meeting.
We had a fruitful discussion with them, and obviously I think all of them are concerned about the security in some part of the country, virtually all parts of the country, and they are ready to support the police force to see how we can be able to address some of these challenges.
With the way things are going through the budgeting processes, we cannot be able to fund police. So the Inspector General of Police made a plea to us that there is a kind of trust fund bill which is before the National Assembly. Ask for our support to talk to our members in National Assembly, Senate and House of Reps.
To this end, the Governors Forum has constituted a committee headed by the Governor of Kwara State to interface with the National Assembly and the Presidency for speedy passage and implementation of the Police Trust Fund Bill aimed at addressing funding challenges. The committee is also mandated to come up with recommendations on the feasibility or otherwise for the establishment of the state police. The Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, also used the forum to brief the governors on plans to establish television and radio stations for the Nigeria police. In Abuja, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And still talking security, the Army, Navy, Immigration and Police said investigations with the killings of 94 Nigerians in the Bakassi Peninsula revealed that the claims have not been substantiated. All the security agencies, including officials from the Foreign Affairs Ministry and the Nigeria Boundary Commission, told the House of Representatives Committee on Foreign Affairs that such claims could affect Nigeria's relation with her neighbor. National Assembly correspondent Rabi Musa has details.
The Nigerian Army, represented by Major General Amadu David, Chief of Training and Operations, said joint patrols with other agencies were carried out in the affected areas and there was no confirmation of such killings. The Navy, represented by Rear Admiral Obed Ngalabak, explained to the members that a group of Nigerians arrived at the naval base unhurt and even staged a peaceful protest on July 7, 2017, while the Immigration Service said of the 1,500 documented, none confirmed the death of any relation. The Cross River State Commissioner of Police, Hafiz Inua, said all allegations have not been substantiated.
We have embarked on information gathering patrols to unravel what really happened. Unfortunately, nobody corroborated the allegations.
None of the returnees could provide video evidence of the attack. None of the returnees was injured in any form.
Most of them confirmed to us that he lost somebody.
Like my naval and immigration colleagues said, we need to be very careful because we do not verify and checkmate all this information. It may end up creating conflict between ourselves and our neighboring brothers.
The chairperson, Nene Lendu, and members of the committee said though there has been no record of death, the people are in their need of land to call their own and call for explanations on the 39 billion naira allocated for development of accommodations for them.
Reports from the security agencies is one of any deaths. But maybe it is a cry for help. Maybe this has happened to bring to the notice of this parliament the need for the people, for us to start to take recognition of their plight.
At the investigative hearing, a 70-year-old woman from the community spoke on the plight of her people. Rabi Musa, NTA News.
As the displaced people of Bakassi await resettlement, attention has been drawn to the plight of women and children currently in the camp. A former presidential advisor and an APC stalwart, Senator Florence Itagiwa, stated this during her visit to the displaced persons in Bakassi. Umar Basiedet reports.
For the women, life is no longer the same as they can hardly provide the needed warmth and care for the young ones who are fast becoming ill. Moved by their plight and condition, Senator Florence Itagiwa presented food to the Bakassi returnees with a call on the federal government and international bodies to assist in their resettlement in line with the Green Tree Accord. Senator Itagiwa emphasized that if properly resettled at the Dayspring Island, the Bakassi displaced persons could return to their preoccupation, which is fishing.
We are obliged to make sure that this baby does not, grow up in a refugee camp. And that's what I've been preaching, that we need to relocate these people, that we need to go and develop that Dayspring. Because if you had developed Dayspring, as they come now, they would have gone there. They're all fishermen and women. That's their occupation. They're not used to being beggars. They're not used to coming to lay around to wait to be fed. All we say is that even if it's the shanty buildings, put it in that Dayspring. Let them go there. We have acquired the land.
The returnees lamented the poor living conditions within the camp, especially for nursing mothers, pregnant women, as well as children, and appealed to other well-meaning Nigerians to emulate the kind gesture of Senator Florence Itagiwa.
No, we don't even see food. It's to get water to give the baby. We don't have to get water to give the baby.
You come here, we are not fishing. The person will don't come now. Give me anything where you go give me, make it do for me.
They say they are hopeful that fate would soon smile on them. From Bakassi local government area of Cross River State, Umar Basiedet, NTA News.
The Senate has confirmed 8 nominees out of the 12 sent to it by the executive for appointment as resident electoral commissioners. 1 was rejected and 3 others are awaiting further legislative action. This followed the presentation of the report by Chairman Senate Committee on INEC, Suleiman Nazif. Nominees from Kebbi, Lagos and Zamfara states were the ones stood down, while that of Niger was outrightly rejected.
The nominee from Niger State, Professor Mustapha Zubairu, was rejected for the reasons being that he hails from the same local government area and senatorial district with a serving national commissioner in the Independent National Electoral Commission.
Some legislators contributed to the debate on the eligibility or otherwise of the nominees.
Allow this very competent Nigerian to serve as resident electoral commissioner.
Have a court ruling against him in the lower court, which says he could not be an INEC resident electoral commissioner as per the grains of the Constitution. He went on appeal, and the appeal was struck out.
I think the fair thing to do, sir, is to refer it back to the committee so that they will advise us properly.
Still from the legislature, the House of Representatives has received an executive communication from the acting president, Yemi Osinbajo, requesting the approval for violently of 135.6 billion naira in the 2017 budget. The letter explained that the environment is to fund some federal government's critical projects and programs as discussed by the executive and the legislature prior to the signing into law of the 2017 appropriation bill.
1,800 naira. Grand total 135,643,018,749 naira. The specific appropriated items to be vied to are contained in Schedule 1, while the specific appropriated items from which to vie the amounts required are contained in Schedule 2, both of which are charged. In the light of the above, I implore you to urgently consider this vying proposal in order to support our collective efforts to improve the well-being of our citizens.
Away from the legislature now, achieving energy efficiency in Nigeria has been identified as key to economic development through offering opportunities for competition and cost savings. This is the view of stakeholders at Apapa Dialogue in Abuja to create awareness on the gains of energy efficiently in the industrial sector. Usman Aliyu reports.
Electricity consumption of small, medium and big-time industries is huge when there is availability. But with the approval of National Policy on Renewable Energy and Efficiency 2015, it's a drive to fully manage what is available. And with implementation of the action plan, hope and relief are coming. A forum like this provides a platform to share views on the importance of energy saving for the industries, which is a step forward to realize efficiency. Participants agree on how to get to the target, saying power supply will improve and conservation of power will also be achieved.
Power you save through energy efficiency, it's almost like adding power back onto the grid.
For us in the public sector, the policy makers, we see energy efficiency as a means of providing sustainable energy to citizens.
What is also very critical in this set of recommendations is complementary financial policies.
It is a global agenda to achieve sustainable energy and universal access by 2030. In Abuja, Usman Aliu, NTA News.
The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, is set to design a template for examination malpractices that will assist the Commission in arresting culprits and sanitize the examination systems. Chairman ICPC, Ekpo Interstated V's at the sensitization program for officials of examination bodies in Abuja. Examination malpractice is a cankerworm that is eaten deep into the nation's fabrics due to inconsistencies and non-implementation of educational policies and corrupt practices. The federal government, through the Ministry of Education and examination bodies, introduced computer-based tests as part of measures to curb malpractice. The ICPC, on its part, introduced the National Values Curriculum, Student Anti-Corruption Clubs, and National Anti-Corruption Debates for secondary schools in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country.
Education is paramount, in our agenda. That if we are able to tackle education malpractices, it will help us. But then we have to also ensure that those things that encourage those issues of malpractices will have to be curbed.
By bringing in ICPC into play is an indication that very soon all this kind of malpractice will be brought down to a minimal level.
We are all victims of the consequences of exam malpractice. When you produce an incompetent doctor through exam malpractice, he's going to kill people. When you produce a building engineer through exam malpractice and academic dishonesty, he's going to build houses that will collapse on people.
For the fight against corruption to be successful in all strata of Nigeria, key players in the education sector called for a holistic approach in tackling examination malpractices from the grassroots. In Abuja, the Nigerian Television Authority has pledged its willingness to partner the African Center for Media and Information Literacy to build public support for the whistleblower policy of the federal government. Director General of NTA, Yakubu Ibn Muhammad, who was represented by the Executive Director News, Malam Muhammad Labbo, said this during a courtesy visit by the organization.
I want you to extend your advocacy to the mainstream media because there is no larger corruption going on in this country than in the media.
Awareness is key, but also from the part of the government itself, there is need to protect the integrity of the process. It's one thing to have a policy, it's another thing to ensure that it runs smoothly and effectively.
The African Center for Media and Information Literacy is a non-governmental organization seeking to use citizens to win the war against corruption and enhance accountability in public office under a project tagged Corruption Anonymous. Now, Lagos Network Center is set with the next story on Nigerian Navy clampdown on operators of illegal vessels. Over to you, Jennifer.
Good evening. Welcome to Lagos. Efforts of the Nigerian Navy to rid Nigeria's maritime environment of criminalities are yielding results as 2 oil vessels arrested by the Western Naval Command's patrol team have been handed over to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for investigation. Lynn Lineke has the details.
2 vessels arrested by the Western Naval Command, Shelley and MT Vine, both laden with suspected stolen petroleum products. The flag officer commanding Western Naval Command, V. Shelley, and her crew members were arrested on the 9th April this year at Lagos Anchorage, allegedly dealing illegal petroleum products. The vessel, as discovered by the Navy, was about 145 metric tons of diesel without valid documents. Of the products did not also meet SON.
The sample did not meet DPR and SON specification, which indicates that the products may be illegally refined.
The second arrested ship, MT Vine, was arrested on the 9th of June this year on arrival at a jetty in Kirikiri to discharge products. The Navy discovered that the point of the product was higher, while the color was off DPR standard laboratory analysis. The vessel was carrying about 600 metric tons of diesel against authorized 400 metric tons. The Nigerian Navy has therefore sounded to those involved in illegal maritime activities, saying there will be no case for offenders. Arrested vessels have now been to the Economic and Financial Crime for the investigation and prosecution. In Lagos, Lynn Lenake, NTA.
Now, there was pandemonium in Apapa area of Lagos following a mob that occurred after a policeman allegedly shot a trailer driver. The incident, which occurred on Creek Roads, led to the burning of 2 bank buildings.
Police say the mayhem started after a disagreement between a policeman and a trailer driver, which thereafter degenerated to the point where the policeman shot the driver, who died on the spot.
The policeman asked the driver that he should give him money, and the man now said that, which money do you want me to give you? Since how many days I'm here, nothing, no food, nothing. Before the spirit of devil just entered the policeman and cocked the gun and shot the guy at the head.
This move enraged the other trailer drivers who chased the policeman. In search of safety, the policeman ran into a bank on that route. Staff of the bank rejected requests by the angry trailer drivers to release the policeman to them. This further angered the drivers, who set a portion of the bank ablaze.
I actually work for them. I'm one of the contractors. They called me to rush down here so I could cordon off the branch. I work for them, so mine is just to come here, cordon off the branch and prevent any more damages.
Policemen later came to the scene to disperse the crowd and restore peace. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Staff discipline enhances productivity and ultimate achievement of corporate goals and objectives of an organization. This formed the message by the Zonal Director, Nigerian Television Authority Lagos Network Center, Victoria Island, Lagos, at a workshop on self-improvement organized for staff. Abolore Ogbara has the details.
The management of NTA Lagos Network Center emphasized the need for a total revolution of the work environment in order to achieve set goals and objectives of the organization. The Zonal Director, NTA Lagos Network Center, Lagos, Chidi Uluka, pointed out that the staff of the center must understand the ethics of the broadcast profession in accordance with rules, subjection to control, order and habit of obedience. He, however, said disciplinary procedures are designed to provide orderliness and improved productivity.
We want to encourage people to increase their productivity because a disciplined society enhances productivity.
The meeting was an opportunity for the staff of Lagos Network Center to interact with the management on the issues raised during the training, as well as make suggestions on the way forward.
We must have the right caliber of people who have agreed consciously to be guided under the principles, which is what we regard to the policies or code of conduct.
The training workshop was attended by all staff of NTA Lagos Network Center. In Lagos, Abolore Ogbara, NTA News.
You're still watching NTA Nationwide News. Back to Olajide in Abuja for more. Stay tuned.
Many thanks, Jennifer, there from our Lagos Network Center. And now to some politics. The national chairman of the PDP Caretaker Committee, Senator Ahmed McCarthy, says the party is not considering any disciplinary measures against any member in the aftermath of the 14-month leadership crisis. He stated this during a valedictory meeting with the party's National Committee. Political correspondent Abdullahi Garba Brenin Kudu reports.
The Governor Dixon-led National Reconciliatory Committee was set up to intervene in the leadership tussle that rocked PDP for more than 14 months. With the resolution of the impasse by the Supreme Court, Governor Dixon requested for the disbandment of the committee at the 74th National Executive Committee meeting. The National Caretaker Committee Chairman, Senator Ahmed Makarfi, commended their contributions to the party, reiterating that reconciliation will continue in the PDP.
No Victor, no Banguchi refers to all the happenings before the Supreme Court judgment. That we should not be looking at any individual for merely disagreeing or not seeing eye to eye with one another before the matter was settled. But to bring discipline to the party, you should say, going forward.
The chairman was still counting on your experience and your leadership with the support of all leaders of the party to still deepen reconciliation.
The NEC meeting this Tuesday had approved for the constitution of new standing committees on reconciliation and discipline. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Kudu, NTA News.
And on education, the Executive Secretary, National Educational Research and Development, Professor Ismail Junaid, says there is no new school curriculum introduced by the federal government. He was speaking on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria program on the information going around, especially on the social media, that some subjects are imposed on students and religious knowledge removed from school curriculum. Kunle Adeye reports.
The social media and even some conventional media were awash with stories about a new curriculum that imposed some subjects and removed the studies of religious knowledge. That prompted reactions from different quarters, but the Nigerian Educational Research and Development Council says there is no curriculum that was introduced.
You should understand that education is on concurrent lists. So the states are the ones that have the primary responsibility of monitoring. The federal government is given policy. And thank God now, even the book policy is in the pipeline of, it has already gone through, where we hope it will now be even legislation on that.
The Director of Department of Education Planning, Research and Development, the Federal Ministry of Education, Magdalene Anenemaido, stressed that since school curriculum is dynamic, change will always be effected to embrace new global trends.
Because we already have approval to separate them and to have them as core subjects that are compulsory. So Christians will do CRK and Muslims will do Islamic studies.
They pointed out that the set curriculum only made the study of religious knowledge compulsory at the basic education level. In Abuja, Kunle Adeyeye, NTA News.
A strong collaboration between federal and state government has been identified as the drive that will ensure successful implementation of the present administration's school feeding program. Some stakeholders of the program disclosed these while featuring on NTA's program Good Morning Nigeria. Again, here is Kunle Adeyeye.
The revival of the program has been commended since it aims at mental and physical well-being of pupils through the provision of rich and balanced meal. Guests on the program spoke on the multiplier effects of the program since its commencement. Owing to realities of the present economic situation in the country, they said the 70 naira budgeted per child's meal has been challenging.
And we're feeding over 1.5 million children currently. It's had its challenges, it's had its success stories in terms of the aggregation, the farmer bit. The learnings for us has been majorly on the food sourced for the feeding program. It has been majorly on the financial inclusion and literacy levels that we've been able to build up.
It's about ensuring that there is adequate monitoring on the aspect of hygiene, on the aspect of regularity, on the aspect of other factors that may militate against the smooth implementation of the program.
Apart from complementing the efforts of the federal government, they are of the opinion that inclusion of states' universal basic education boards, involvement of community leaders and others is fundamental to the sustainability of the program.
The state government does not have a problem with
this program, provided the federal government would go ahead and do the needful.
So if we strengthen the monitoring and evaluation aspect, we'll be able to now count these numbers. And it's possible in every aspect. And the way it is seen, self-accounting process is guaranteed.
The success of the program in some states, the guests also acknowledged, has increased school enrollments. They express hope that it will increase from 11 to 15 states before the end of the year. In Abuja.
You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. It's time now to pause for some messages. Nationwide returns shortly. Don't go away.
From what we have seen, we have the capacity which we can rapidly develop or feed in ourselves. If we don't import rice, we stop importing corn and other grains, Nigeria will have plenty of money to invest into developing industries, especially manufacturing, textiles and so on, and develop iron and steel, and complement the infrastructure development. So really, the opportunities are virtually limitless, and we are very, very aware of this, and we are prepared to exploit it to the fullest.
The Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, invites all state commissioners, permanent secretaries, and directors of information, professionals, and stakeholders in the information sector to the second Extraordinary National Council on Information. Theme: Hate Speeches, Fake News, and National Unity. Chief Host, Right Honorable Barrister Simon Bako Lalong, Executive Governor of Plateau State. Date: 20th to 21st July 2017. Venue: Eliel Center, Gold and Base, Jos, Plateau State. Time: 8 a.m. prompt. Program of events: Thursday, 20th July, 12 noon to 6 p.m. Arrival and registration of participants: Friday, 21st July, 8:30 to 9 a.m. Registration continues Friday, 21st July, 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Council meeting: Hussaini W. Daya, Acting Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Information and Culture. Announcer.
Many Nigerian children cannot afford to go to school because they live in poverty. Instead of enjoying education and its benefits, they get involved in street trading to help themselves and their families survive. The Rogers Foundation is a humanitarian organization which currently caters for over 15,000 less privileged children in various schools all over Nigeria. The foundation has a goal to take thousands of less privileged children off the streets and provide them with free quality education from secondary school to the university as part of her Vision 2030. Admission forms are free and available online and at all Rogers Foundation colleges at Owerri, Jos, Ibadan, Kano, Enugu, Sokoto, Yola, Bauchi, Zaria and Oboko. For further details, visit www.rochersfoundation.org. Rogers Foundation, we educate to empower.
From the producer of The Wedding Party and taxi driver Okwa Show comes another blockbuster romantic adventure.
Nearly a year, I don't even know where you stay.
I said, back off.
Tattoo.
I think someone is after me.
Based on a book by Dr. Abraham Wankwo.
She has no hiding place.
Starring Shego Arinze, Toy Aimaku, Gabriel Afolayan, Rahama Saidu, Fulola Afoebi Rhyme, Sambasa Nzeribe, Saka, Frank Dunga, Desmond Elliott. Introducing Dumebi Nzeribe. Tattoo, directed by Donna Mockman. Showing at cinemas nationwide from September 15th. Premieres on the 22nd of July at the prestigious Eco Hotel and Suites, Victoria Island, Lagos.
I'd rather die than have Buru take my baby!
This premiere is packaged by Larry Mapo Events.
masters of the game are coming from different parts of the world.
Are you ready?
Watch 14 of Europe's elite teams battle it out from the 16th to the 31st of July 2017. China, Singapore, and USA will play host to the best footballers on the planet. Don't blink, because you just might miss the exhilarating action. Watch all games live and exclusive on Star Times.
Don't miss it.
Subscribe for 2 months and get 2 weeks free on any bouquet. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
Many thanks for being there, and if you're just joining us, this is NTA Nationwide. We now join Maiduguri, where Mohammed is standing by to give us details of Governor Shettima's launching of food distribution to IDPs. Mohammed, take it up from here.
Thank you, Alajide. Welcome to Nationwide from Maiduguri. Borno State Governor Kashim Shettima has flagged off the second phase of food distribution under the federal government emergency food intervention program geared towards addressing the food security challenges in the Northeast. The ceremony took place at the Bakassi camp, housing IDPs from 5 local government areas of the state, with the representative of the Office of the Vice President in attendance. Mohamed Goni reports.
It will be recalled that the acting president, Professor Yemi Osibajo, plucked up the federal government emergency food intervention program for the Northeast last month at the Bakassi camp. Under the program, each household in the camps is to receive a monthly dry ration of assorted food items according to the number of persons in each household, and that the commodities are to be delivered to the doorsteps of the IDPs in the camp. An arrangement which is a deviation from the initial practice of IDPs having to queue up for their share. Governor Shettima, during the ceremony, restated commitment of government to their welfare and speedy completion of ongoing reconstruction of their communities to enable them return to normal life. The governor was earlier on arrival briefed by the NEMA and camp officials on the state of affairs in the camp. SEMA Executive Chairman Satomi Ahmed said, though the door-to-door distribution is a welcome development, it is not without its own challenges. Bakassi camp is one of the largest camps in the metropolis, with over 35,000 IDPs, comprising of 6,012 households. In Maiduguri, Mohamed Goni, NTA News.
Borno State government has been called upon to ensure the safety of children and their education by implementing the Child Rights Act. Founder of Malala Foundation and girl child education activist, Ms. Malala Yousafzai, made the call on Governor Kashim Shettima at the Government House, Maiduguri. Here's the report.
Ms. Malala was accompanied by her father, Ziauddin Yousafzai, and officials of the United Nations. She advocated for a better future for children in Borno State, stressing the need to support teachers in terms of better salary and other incentives, as well as allow other donor agencies to come in. She also appreciated the state government for its effort at providing quality education to children.
The children who have been displaced, you're already giving them support, but I think giving them making sure that they have catch-up classes so they can, if they have missed school for more than 2 to 3 years, so they can learn the things that, again, and they can reach to the level and they can start their formal education soon.
Governor Kashim Shettima, while receiving the delegation, said his administration expends over 20% of its budget on education as a means of promoting a brighter future for children in the state.
We are providing 1 meal per day, because the grey matter infrastructure of primary school kids is absolutely essential. In the next 6 to 9 months, there will be a seismic change in the portion of the people of Borno.
The governor said, in addition, a stipend of 2,000 naira will be given on a monthly basis to mothers in northern Borno to send their children to school as a way of boosting school enrollment. The governor also led the delegation to inspect one of the mega schools under construction by the state government. In Maiduguri, Muhammad Ibrahim, NTA News.
A new tailoring and fashion design center has been inaugurated in Maiduguri by Borno State government to empower youths and women in the state. Mohamed Goni completes the report.
The Tailoring and Fashion Design Center, which comprises 60 single and 28 double shops, expected to accommodate 300 beneficiaries, was put in place to enhance socio-economic activities in the metropolis. The governor said his administration remains resolute to restore hope and confidence of the people through the provision of dividends of democracy.
For me, again, it is significant and interesting to note that this plaza is coming on the very spot or area, which used to be one of the notorious splash points during the time of the insurgency, where the Boko Haram members held sway.
Governor Kashim Shettima charged the beneficiaries to reciprocate the gesture by paying the already subsidized dues and further enjoin them to train more youth and imbibe maintenance culture. Commissioner for Poverty Alleviation and Youth Empowerment, Inna Galadima, said the state government has approved allocation of the shops to the Borno State Tailoring and Fashion Design Association to accommodate its members scattered around the metropolis. The commissioner further revealed that 20 women selected from the 3 senatorial zones of the state have been trained in Abuja on advanced tailoring, and each of them was to go home with a sewing machine and 50,000 naira to start up their businesses. Chairman of the Tailoring and Fashion Design Association and other beneficiaries were full of gratitude to the governor for the empowerment scheme. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
That's our contribution on Nationwide. Olajide is back to you in Abuja.
Many thanks, Mohammed. And moving on now to health matters. As the program shaping local markets to scale up zinc and oral rehydration salts use in Nigeria comes to an end, the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, with its development partners, says the implementation process has been successful. At the endline review of the program, it was recorded that 18,400 child deaths were averted. Chimdimma Ndubisi reports.
Reports show that in 2012, diarrhea was one of the top 3 killers of children under the age of 5 in Nigeria, accounting for about 100,000 deaths yearly. Although the World Health Organization has proven that the use of zinc and oral rehydration salts, ORS, can prevent more than 90% of diarrhea-related deaths, but less than 1% of Nigerian children received the recommended treatment. Due to lack of awareness, there was low demand, and as a result, suppliers as well had low incentive to invest in the distribution of the products. This created a market trap. To break this, Global Affairs Canada provided funds with the Clinton Health Access Initiative, providing technical support for the federal government to encourage local manufacturers to invest in production and sales of zinc and ORS. Health providers and caregivers were also encouraged to use the products. This was done in 8 states.
Zinc ORS combined treatment coverage has increased from 6% to 37%, and that ORS coverage has increased from 43% to 62%.
The outcome felt in the first outing will be very much scaled up to other states to ensure that the lessons learned are not lost.
One of the things we did with the private sector was to ensure that zinc and ORS is available in all the patent medicine outlets in the rural areas.
We have been supported all along, but already we have started showing evidence of sustainability by state taking the entire intervention on this one.
Another success story is that disparity in ORS coverage between urban and rural areas decreased, while wholesale prices for combined treatment also dropped by almost 70%. In Abuja, Chimdimma Ndubisi, NTA News.
The FCT administration says some completed projects, including the Asovila interchange, will be inaugurated in August this year. FCT Minister Mohammed Musa Bello said these while inspecting some ongoing road projects in Abuja. Mitaire Ikpen reports.
Contractors at the Asovila interchange assured the FCT minister that the project will be completed in 3 weeks. The interchange will connect traffic from the Kubwa Expressway through AYA underpass into Abuja city center. The minister also inspected ongoing construction of the Goodluck Jonathan Expressway, which will have a 400-meter long bridge conveying traffic from Area 10 to Area 1.
And this is a road that has quietly been worked upon for the last few months. By the time this road is done, the entire segment, right from the Nyanya axis, right through to AYA, to the Villa Bridge, right through to the Police Bridge, across the River State House, right through to the CBN, and crossing this massive bridge here will link up the entire area up to Galadimawa. That is going to create a very, very major arterial road within the city that will open up and ease traffic.
The contractor noted that challenges facing the project include issues of compensation and relocation of some facilities along the road corridor, which are being sorted out by the FCT administration. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
And to Labour matters, the Minister of Labour, Chris Ngige, has affirmed the commitment of the President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration to the implementation of the Local Content Act, which he described as pivotal to the job creation initiatives of the federal government. In a statement from the ministry, while receiving on a working visit members of the Nigerian Society of Engineers led by its president, Otis Anyeji, says the labour content must be determined in any given contract. This is by taking a critical look at every council memo to ensure that it addresses the issue of local content, with a view to ensuring that federal government contracts generate jobs for the teeming unemployed Nigerians. The minister expressed the ministry's readiness to partner with the Nigerian Society of Engineers on workplace inspection and recruit safety engineers and technicians to boost the inspection capacity of the ministry at workplaces and engineering sites. Enugu State House of Assembly moves to check spate of building collapse in the state. Over now to Juliet in our Enugu Network Center. Juliet.
Oh, well, Olajide, I am Chiegono, not Juliet. Welcome to Enugu. The Imo State House of Assembly has taken steps to legislate on the series of building collapse recently experienced in the state. Beatrice Anyam reports that in one of the incidents, over 3 persons lost their lives.
It became necessary as a result of public outcry over several cases of building collapse in the state, with its attendant huge loss of lives and property. Story buildings of various capacities have collapsed at 8 different places in the state. This the lawmakers attributed to the use of substandard materials, engagement of quacks, lack of adequate supervision, and non-adherence to job specifications. They also noted that town planning and development authorities have failed in their responsibilities of supervising the construction of buildings and called for speedy attention by the government to forestall future occurrences.
The incident of building collapse in the most recent time in Imo State has become quite alarming and has unacceptable. Anyone embarks in the construction of the 2 or 3 story building, firstly at the foundation stage, it is important that duly qualified engineers, certified engineers, go to take a look at such buildings.
The plenary, presided over by the Deputy Speaker of the House, Chief Ugono Ziribo, resolved that its Committee on Housing should oversight relevant regulatory agencies and ensure compliance with the building regulatory laws. In Owerri, Beatrice Anyam, NTA News.
Enugu State Government has procured and distributed over 200 artificial limbs to 8 people with deformities. Wife of the governor, Mrs. Monica Ugwanye, who flagged up the distribution at Queen's Secondary School, Enugu, said it is part of a pet project geared towards addressing health challenges of the vulnerable. Ijoma Ugweke was there.
Wife of the governor, who appreciated the joint efforts of the State Ministry of Health and foreign partners that collaborated with her in carrying out her pet project, Ugo Touch of Life, to ensure that this initiative came to a reality. The distribution of prosthetics and polio caliper to amputees and polio victims, which kicked off in Enugu, will be carried out in the 3 senatorial zones of the state to ensure that it gets to those who need it.
If not for God, I don't think they will come to Enugu to come and help us.
without us paying a dime. We should be grateful to God who made it possible.
Commissioner for Health, Dr. Sam Ngu, appreciated Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi for his vision and support for all health programs geared towards ensuring quality health care for the people. The project is in collaboration with foreign partners who were in Enugu last month to examine, assess, and measure all the amputees and polio victims with the aim of achieving best results. In Enugu, Ijomu Gweke, NTA News.
In spite of efforts by the Abia state government towards transforming the Enyimba city, the increasing rate of beggars in major streets and their debasing activities have become a source of worry to many. It is against this background that Kelechi Okata seeks to find out a lasting solution to the menace.
The number of beggars keeps multiplying daily in the nooks and crannies of Aba. It was observed that the increase in the number of beggars over there constitutes a lot of nuisance in the environment. The most worrisome aspect of it is that most of the beggars are not physically challenged. Respondents said such people should be moved into doing some trade to boost their livelihood.
It's obvious that the presence of those beggars are affecting the aesthetic value of the city. And there is the tendency that when there is any outbreak of disease, because of the devalued nature of their activity there, then every person is at risk.
I think the most important thing is for the government to try and create a curriculum that can accommodate them, because they have to be taken off the streets.
In a similar development, hawking among the youths have also assumed an alarming dimension, which invariably poses a lot of danger on both motorists and the hawkers. In Aba, Kelechi Okata, NTA News.
Well, that wraps it up from Enugu here. Over now to you, Olajide, for more on Nationwide.
Many thanks there, Chair Gono, for the correction. Sorry about the mix-up. Moving on now, the 23rd meeting of the National Council on Works has proposed adequate traffic signage on roads across the country as a way of opening up the country to Nigerians and foreigners alike, as well as reducing loss of man-hours and road accidents. Victor Azu reports.
Are the highest policy and decision makers in the works sector at the national and state levels, and this meeting is the highest body that sets agenda for the sector. Here at the 23rd session of the council, participants are keeping in tune with the theme, adequate traffic signage, an essential key for highways infrastructure, safety and comfort. Minister for Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola, enumerated the benefits of having road furniture to include easy mobility and economic growth.
It is not enough to simply erect any sign in any place, or indeed anyhow. There must be specifications, not only in the quality of material, but also specifications in the quality of manufacturing, and also in the quality of installation.
There is a commitment from participants to implement decisions that will be taken at this council meeting.
I'm sure all the states, the 36 states in the Federation, will go and implement fully all the road infrastructure because of the benefits.
We need to have signages for hospitals, signages showing fuel stations and many other important towns, as it is in many of the advanced countries in the world. And that is what we expect across every state, including Delta.
Adequate signage on roads across the length and breadth of Nigeria will not only make for easy identification of these roads, but the process of making this signage will also create employment for the unemployed. And that is what this meeting seeks to achieve. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
Now, the Beijing spirit is still alive. The struggle for equality and level playing field for women has been long fought. Now, with the playing field wide open, women are being encouraged to come up with innovations and marketable ideas that will make them thriving entrepreneurs. This was the concern at the National Women Business Summit and exhibitions, which is all about strengthening the women, micro, small and medium enterprises to help end recession and achieve sustainable development goals. Bakassi tells us more.
To develop a business agenda that will keep Nigerian women in business at par with their counterpart in line with international standards, informed the National Women Business Summit.
What are the things that women had not been able to, get involved in? And what are the things that have been hampering their products from reaching local and international standards?
Time has come for us to look inwards. Nigerian made goods they are very much okay. They are of high quality standards and they can be better. It's better patronage.
The discussants at the summit noted that towards enhancing the wealth and well-being of the nation, there is need for women to be economically empowered, as this will help in ending recession. The summit, which brought women together with a common goal of encouraging and improving sustainable entrepreneurial development among women through research, advocacy and policy initiative, also discussed on the inclusion of women in policy making.
So what I want our women to do now is that the ball is in their court. They should remove hatred. They should remove jealousy. They should come out in mass in 2019 and contest.
The summit featured exhibition of made in Nigerian goods by women from across the country. In Abuja, Bakassi, NTA News.
And on the foreign scene, former Zambian President Kenneth Kaunda has been hospitalized at the University Teaching Hospital in Lusaka. For these and more stories and foreign news, let's join Ilyasu Ali Yakubu.
Hello, and thanks for joining me on this segment of the news. We begin with the story of former Zambian President Kenneth Kaunda, who is being hospitalized due to minor complications. Zambian Minister of Health Chitalu Chilufya said the former president's condition is stable after doctors conducted checks on him and that he may be discharged this week. Zambian Vice President Enonge Wina had visited the former president in hospital. Kaunda ruled Zambia from 1964 after fighting for the country's independence in 1991. Ramnath Kovind was elected India's new president, the second time since independence. A head of state has been chosen from the bottom of the Hindu caste system. Kovind won the largely ceremonial position with more than 65% of the vote by members of India's parliament and state assemblies. The Election Commission said Kovind is a 71-year-old former lawyer. Denmark is pledging 91 million Danish kroner, equivalent to $14 million, to curb the human and social cost of unwanted pregnancies in places with poor infrastructure and opportunities for young women. Much of the focus will be on Africa's least developed countries. Danish Minister for Development Cooperation said part of the solution to reducing migratory pressures on Europe is to control the high population growth in many African countries. In the meantime, U.S. President Donald Trump will not be addressing the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People Convention this weekend, breaking with the years of tradition, as White House confirmed. This marks the second time the Republican has failed to attend the convention, which holds in Baltimore this weekend. That's it on this segment. The news continues.
Now to sports. National Sports Federation by-election postponed in Abuja as Nigeria Rugby Federation moves to avoid international ban. Details with Tamara Ebiwe and Sport Update.
The by-elections of 6 sporting federations scheduled to take place Thursday in Abuja was postponed by the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development shortly after accreditation of delegates who had gathered in anticipation of the election. Director of Press in the ministry, Tolu Makinde, who conveyed the ministry's position, said a new date will be announced.
Today's election has been postponed and that a new date will be announced. And all those affected will be duly notified.
Stakeholders, however, bear their minds on the postponement.
We have had a shift several times, and it is it's not so good when the ministry has not made up its mind on what to do.
Now, how do we just start going back with our athletes without doing anything? I don't know if you feel the pain we are having now.
Meanwhile, The Nigeria Rugby Federation, which did not participate in the June 13 Federation's elections, is working towards holding their General Assembly in Abuja in line with international status as it bids to avoid the looming ban by the world governing body.
To ask whether there will ever be an election will depend on when the minister agrees that rugby and any other sport who is governed by a constitution will run its constitution.
In athletics, Usain Bolt's management have refuted suggestions that the 8-time Olympic champion played a role in the exclusion of Canada's Andre de Grasse from Friday's Monaco Diamond League 100 meters race, after reports alleged that the Jamaican was scared of his younger rival, who has been severally tipped as his natural successor. With sports update, Tamara Ebiwe, NTA News.
Before we go, a quick reminder that you can watch all our stories and much more when you log on to our website, www.nta.ng. And that's it on NTA News Nationwide. Many thanks for being a part of it. I'm Olajide Bello. Enjoy the rest of your day.